What is going on, YouTube? It's Tyler from Mission VR, where it's my mission to bring you guys good quality VR content. Today, we're going to be going over the top melee-focused games on the MetaQuest platform, and I really wanted to stick with games that really do have a melee combat focus to them. Like, there's a lot of games where you might have a little bit of sword play or something like that, but is maybe more story or stealth driven, aka like Assassin's Creed's a good example, where like there's a decent amount of melee combat, but I'd categorize that game a little differently than like a melee focused game, right? There is melee combat in that game, and it's a story driven game. It's an incredible title. I highly recommend you check it out. And you guys can check out the top 10 list of top 10 overall Quest games I have in the time card above if you're interested in that. But with that being said, we're going to get into this list. Make sure you guys drop a like on this video, subscribe to my channel, and a word from our sponsors. If you guys are looking to upgrade your VR gaming experience, then look no further than the Kiwi Design's full suite of VR accessories. These accessories are absolutely incredible and very high quality made. They make everything from Quest 2 to Quest 3 accessories, including battery straps to increase your play sessions, comfort straps just to increase the comfort of the headset, controller grips to prevent you from throwing the controllers, and much, much more. If you guys are interested in upgrading your VR gaming experience, please do check out the referral link in the description. Every sale does help the channel, so I do appreciate it, and I hope you guys found the accessories you're looking for right here. Okay, guys, so getting in this list here, I know I'm gonna get some heat because I'm leaving a game off this list that I feel like maybe doesn't deserve to be in the top 6 games. We're gonna go over 6 games today, and I know that this is some controversy, but I'm just gonna outright say it. Blade and Sorcery is not on this list, and I know that like a lot of people are gonna be like, how can you not put Blade and Sorcery? Like, the whole game is melee combat. I do understand that. I myself personally have a lot of hours on Blade and Sorcery. Blade and Sorcery is a good game. However, Blade and Sorcery is a sandbox game. There really isn't anything going on beyond sandbox, and the AI in the game is not very good. So after you get over the amazing physics combat and the mods and, being able to wield a lightsaber and cut down NPCs in a lightsaber, that's all really cool. Don't get me wrong. Blade and Sorcery is a fun game, and I've had a lot of hours and a lot of fun nights just role-playing in there, fighting against things. But the AI is not good, and it's not a challenge. There's nothing really going on. They do have some semblance of a dungeon now, but it just really isn't, something that I feel like deserves to be in the top games list. It's a niche game at this point. Like, if you like sandbox and you can be creative on your own, and you want to play around with mods, Blade and Sorcery is a great game. But if you're looking for a little bit more of a streamlined experience, then some of the games on this list might be better off for you. With that being said, guys, our first pick on this list at number 6 is going to be Iron Strike, which is a 4-player co-op game, and it's a roguelike featuring some physics-based swordplay as well as gesture-based magic casting and, of course, archery as well. But of course, the main focus in this game is going to be kind of building out your character. And, if you are a melee combat focused person, you're looking to play with, melee combat, you're going to be able to really do that in this game and have kind of an RPG-esque type experience with it. And the best part about this is that this game is not only 4-player co-op, so you can play with your friends, or in my case, my fiance, who I can't wait to show her this game because I've been looking for games to play with her, and I think this is one she's gonna love as well. So we really got into some other games, and we're gonna talk about another game on this list later on. But yeah, long story short, this is an amazing title, and it looks so beautiful. The wide open worlds and the fantasy vibe, it just can really set the tone, and you can kind of get lost in this world a little bit. And the combat definitely does feel really good, as well as the gesture-based magic as well. And, just being able to customize your build and just get lost in this fantasy world. It's an amazing title, and I highly recommend you check this out. Don't let the graphics of the kind of floating arms and stuff throw you off. The game is good, and it deserves some recognition. And with our next pick on this list, at number 5, we have the Minecraft-style inspired Ancient Dungeon. Now, listen, I know if you're not a Minecraft-style fan, or, these graphics, aren't your thing, then okay, it is what it is, and you can pass on this game, and that's okay, and you might pass on an amazing title, and that's just what this game is. Listen, because the graphics are the way that they are, they've allowed this game to go deep. There's a lot in this game. Like, there is a ton of good, great quality content. And if you look at the reviews on the store, you could see that it's like 5 stars straight up, because those people that actually did buy this game, they knew what the graphics were going to be like going in. And to be honest with you guys as well, in VR, these graphics, your brain just kind of like, that's just the environment you're in. Like, you still feel just as immersed. And like, honestly, the graphics in a way can actually be really good. And the depth of this game and the combat in this game is amazing. it's one of those full VR titles that's kind of a hidden gem to some extent, and the combat's really fun. As well as that, it's an ever-shifting labyrinth, so there's a ton of different stuff. There's 125 plus powerful relics. There's well over 20 hours worth of content in this game. It's an incredible title, and I highly recommend you picking it up. Okay, and at number 4, we have a game that's been out for a little while now, and it still deserves to be on this list. It made it on my top 10 list, and, I don't know anybody who has played this game who didn't really like it, and that is Until You Fall. Listen, I will keep saying it, and I will say it until they bring out an Until You Fall 2. This was one of the best VR games that I have ever played. And, for the simplicity of it, for what it did, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're going to play this game for 180 hours. You might play it for that long because it is a workout. In a way, this game actually is kind of a workout simulator. And for a while, I was using it to do cardio, which is kind of crazy because it actually does work up a sweat, especially in the later difficulties. If you have a kind of an open area, you can really go hard in this game. But the combat is just so fluid in this game. It feels good. It might not be physics-based, but the pace of the combat and the way you're fighting against the enemies, sometimes you have the occasional dodge left or right or duck, and it's just really well done. Everything feels amazing in this game. You kind of feel like a badass in this game. They added a two-handed weapon update, so if your thing is two-handed weapons, there's all kinds of different perks. It's roguelike, so every run does feel different. You can get some runs where you feel really powerful and you're kind of building out your build, and some runs that are a little harder, or runs you're going for more money on to be able to upgrade your character's abilities and your weapons, which is cool. So there's some RPG elements to it, there's some rhythm elements to it, there's a challenge to this game. Again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're going to play through this game more than a couple times and maybe never touch it again. That might be your thing. I've come back to this game several times just because of the fun factor of it, but it's a really good game, and I think that if you go ahead and pick this one up, especially like on a sale or something like that, you're definitely not going to be disappointed. Okay, here in at number 3, this is the reason why Blade and Sorcery, I couldn't put it on this list, because this game's basically Blade and Sorcery, but like actually kind of streamlined to the point so that you can, have an experience that isn't necessarily a sandbox, and that is Swordsman VR. Now, this game takes you to a multitude of different areas and really, kind of timelines where you can fight in some melee combat situations, everything from being pirates to Vikings to knights, samurais even. It's really, really cool, and there is an RPG player progression system, as well as customization, blacksmith, an armor, and skill master. Like, there's a lot going on in this game. It has some RPG elements, and the combat is, of course, really fun as well. So it's a game that I think is a little bit more streamlined for VR, and is a little bit easier to pick up than like a Blade and Sorcery, because you're going to get into Blade and Sorcery and you're not going to kind of really know what to do or what's going on. But like, this game's like really similar to Blade and Sorcery, but like a definitely more streamlined experience for VR users. So that's why I have this a little higher on the list than Blade and Sorcery. All right, here in at number 2, and listen, you could argue this game could be 1. In theory, it probably is number 1 when it comes to actual combat prowess. The only reason I didn't put it as 1 is because I think that it's a little bit more hardcore for VR users. And if like you're a beginner VR person, this game might be a challenge for you, compared to the number 1 game, which I think it's a little more user-friendly for overall. But both of these games, this game and the next game, are really, really good titles, and I highly recommend them. But Battle Talent. Listen, This game is freaking awesome. The physics-based combat, it's the most seamless feeling battle, like melee game that I've ever played. And on top of that, it is actually deep, and it actually is not boring, which is amazing because games like this can get boring a little bit sometimes after you put a lot of hours into them. But what's awesome with this is that you get a seamless procedural dungeon every time, which is amazing. So of course, we get the different dungeons, but there's 80 enemy variants, which is like wild, right? Like, we don't get games like that. Like, even most of these games don't have that many. 100 plus weapons, 60 perks, multiple different landscapes, boss fights in this game. There's just so much to do in this game. And on top of that, this is when you combine all of that with the same type of fast-paced, parkour-driven combat, that is centered around Blade and Sorcery, where you can really just have some epic executions. This game, you could put a lot of hours into it, and it's going to be a lot of fun to play. You're going to want to keep coming back to this game over and over. Again, the only bummer about this game is that it is single player, and you can't go and experience this with friends. If you could, this game would probably be #1 easily. I'm excited to see what the dev studio keeps working on for it, because certainly this is a game that is starting to turn some heads. All right, and with our #1 pick here, I had to put it here just because I think that this game is a good investment for a little bit down the line from now, and that's Dungeons of Eternity. Now, I did a full review on Dungeons of Eternity, and I spoke very, very highly of it because I do think it's a very, very good game. Overall, the melee combat's great. You have some class systems in this. There's some cosmetic items you can unlock. You do get loot. The dungeons are all random. The combat feels really good. The environments are awesome. It's co-op. It's got a variety of missions. It's a really, really good game at its base. It's amazing at its base. It's a really solid game at its base. That being said, I think that there's some content that it needs in the later levels. Early on, you're going to have a great time. You're going to pick this game up. You're going to drop 20 hours into it before you start to notice the repetitiveness. Maybe a little less than that. But 20 hours in, you're going to start going, I've kind of seen the same rooms. I'm getting legendary weapons now. There's nothing beyond, I think, level 25, and there's 50 levels in the game that's really worth, continuing to play for. Now, however, the dev team does have a roadmap out there. They are going to be adding a lot of stuff to this game. And what I can say is that if you do buy this game now, you might play it only now for, 20, 25 hours or so, and you might put it down. But in 1 year from now, this team keeps updating this game. You're going to come back, and it's going to be a game that, you probably don't even recognize. And it's going to have so much to do, so much content. They could take this game in so many places. I was so impressed with the foundation of Dungeons of Eternity. What is there, the core gameplay, it's smooth. It works. It looks good. It feels good. The game, it was just overall a really great starting point for something incredible. And I think that if they can continue to build upon that and add some more combat, it's going to be just an incredible game. The biggest issue with the game for me, I think the challenge level was just not there. It was not very difficult at all. I hardly ever died beyond the beginning whenever I was learning the game, so I think that that's something that they need to work on. I think there needs to be some more risk reward. If you beat a dungeon, you should get loot, a special loot. If you lose, there should be a penalty for losing. There's just a lot of stuff that they got to work out little kinks wise, but the foundation of the game is so good. It's got co-op. It kind of has something for everyone. And I think that this is definitely, in my opinion right now, I think this is the best, Quest 3 adventure kind of melee combat game, that's going to fit everybody's niche, if that makes sense. No matter what type of player you are, you could pick this game up and it's probably going to be a good game for you. Where some of these other games I think are more niche and, you might have to be a certain type of person to enjoy them. Well, guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys found a melee combat game that you are looking forward to. There were definitely some games I left off on this list. Castles Arashi of Sin is a game that actually comes out tomorrow as the time of this recording. It'll probably be out by the time this video goes live. But it will be out tomorrow, and that game looks really good, but I don't know how melee focused it is, how stealth it is, or whatnot. I'm going to be working on a video for the top story-based games on the Quest platform, but there's some games coming out that I feel like I need to play through before I can rank story games, because I'm not even done with Assassin's Creed yet. Just haven't had much time. But so far, that game's gonna probably make the list because I just cannot believe how good it is, right? So in the same, there's Asgard's Wrath coming, Arizona Sunshine 2, there's Castle Arashi of Sin I just talked about. So there's some really good story-based games coming out. So I want to wait to make that list and probably till the end of this month or so until I get a chance to really dive into these games and experience what it's like to go through them. But yeah, that being said, drop a like on today's video, subscribe to the channel, check out the Kiwi Designs referral link, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.